All right, everyone. Now in this video, we're gonna talk about my favorite books that I have read that directly impact me in some sort of way. If you're not a reader, then you don't want to be rich. This is something that I understood a long time ago. That somebody said, "Javi, you want to be rich so bad, but you don't have none of the rich people's habits." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Yeah, you don't exercise, you don't read books, you don't talk to wealthy people, you don't you don't you know you don't do anything that any of the habit that somebody who's rich does." And one of the habits that I've seen from rich people is that they all read books. When I used to work for my father, he's a painter here in Miami. He has a pretty much a painting company that we work on wood, and very expensive, like the most expensive houses in Miami that are 25, 50. Like I worked in the owners of Bacardi the drinks house, Mark Anthony's house. Like I worked in famous celebrities houses here in Miami because of my father. And one thing that I noticed, they all had a library, and if I never catch them at home, they were rarely at home. And if they were at home, they were either exercising, like walking around their property, or maybe, or in the gym of their house, or reading a book. And I'm like, damn, that is true. All people, like all these rich people, they at least read something. Okay, so I'm just gonna give you some of the list of some books that really helped me. I feel that if you're not reading, please start. Like read one. It's the information is incredible. You just gotta read one good book and you're gonna get obsessed with it. That's all it takes. I read one book and I got hooked, and I've been reading ever since. Okay, and I was prior to that, I always talk shit about books, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's just for nerds and whatever it may be." But I'm telling you, reading has completely changed my life because I get the information of somebody that's taking their whole life to get, and just in a condensed time frame. Okay, so that's enough for it. The first book I want to give you guys to check it out is The Great CEO Within. This is a great book because when I was first starting off, I didn't know what the hell a CEO was. I didn't know what was my job. What do I need to do as a CEO? What is exactly the job title of a CEO? And this book really helped me. It's also very small. You can see I marked it everywhere. It's marked like I marked it like 100 times. It's a very short book, but it talks about everything that a good CEO should do and stand for. Very good book. Definitely highly recommend it. The Great CEO Within by Matt. Um, yeah, by yeah, it's actually multiple people are writing this book. I didn't even notice. But just The Great CEO Within. Please read it. Get back to me and let me know what were the best takeaways you got from this one. Okay, now let's go to the next one. The next one is by Patrick Lencioni, which, man, this book I read it like 2 3 times now, and it's such a great book to come back to because one, it's very short, and two, the man, it's such a good concept what he's telling you. But one of the main things that I got from it, that if you're what makes a good CEO is a great CRO, which is Chief Reminding Officer, which is you keep telling your team again the culture, the goals, and where we're going and the reason why, and you just got to keep mentioning and again and again and again. And that is your job as a CEO. That is your job as the owner of the company. That is your job as a founder, to create culture, to consistently remind people what is the reason why we're doing things. So great book. The Motive, highly recommended. This guy Patrick Lencioni, holy crap, man! All his books. If you're having managing issues, which I'm currently am, and hiring issues, best author to read, Patrick Lencioni. Which the next book also by him. This one's called The Five Temptations of a CEO. Read this one too. Another very small book and very impactful. Honestly, go to Amazon, search Patrick Lencioni, and buy all his books. He has like 12 or 14. I'm telling you, fucking buy all of them. You're not gonna be disappointed. There's another one that should have gotten. It's called Death by Meeting. Very good book too. Highly recommend any book by Patrick Lencioni. The next one, this book is awesome, guys. And I know the title sounds cringy, How to Get Rich, but oh my God, what a fantastic book. I'm just gonna say, just read it. It's such a fun read because this guy, he's a really good writer. Not only that, he's a poet. Is a poet. So man, I don't even want to just read the goddamn book. It is a little bit lengthy, but read the book because this guy, I think he almost became a billionaire. Not quite. He was worth like $800 million or whatever. And before he passed away, he wrote this book. Fuck, man, such a fun book. Such a fun book about business, very entertaining. I was hooked to the book the whole time. His concept, his business philosophy, fuck man, what a fun book. How to Get Rich. Definitely read this book. If you're like don't like the preachy and too much technical stuff, read this one because this one's very fun. Okay, this is a very fun book. He talks about everything. He talks about everything, man. The Secrets of an Entrepreneur. It's such a good book. Highly recommended. I'm probably gonna read this one again because it's been, I think, like a year or two since I read it. The next one is the E-Myth. So book is very important because if you're failing on coming up with SOPs, systems, and how to have the mindset for that, and you really don't know what that means or what to do, this is the book for you, because this book will show you why most businesses fail because they don't have system, they don't have standard operating procedure, which are SOPs. They're just pretty much running their business like a headless chicken, right? So this book is very good for that. Actually, this book and these two books are Built to Sell and the E-Myth. I highly advise you to read these two books at the same time, not at the same time, the same week, because they are both very powerful. This one, it shows you how to build a company to sell. And I'm not saying just build a company to sell it, but if you build the company with the intention to sell, that means that the business has to be so how do I say it? The foundation has to be so built so well that it becomes sellable. Because if something is not pretty much could take care of itself or can run on itself, and it's not something that is like an actual an asset, if it's not really an asset, because if it's not producing itself and it's not pretty much self-managing itself by that team or whatever, then nobody's going to buy that business. But if you build a business to sell, you have to build it in a way that is the business is secure and it has a bunch of safety nets and a bunch of foundations, right? And that's what this book tells you, how to build to sell. And I'm not saying just, like I said, I'm not saying build the business to sell it, but if you build it with the intention to sell, that means you're building the business correctly, because the business is going to be turned into an asset. It's going to be very, very valuable because you build it the right way. That means 5 years, 7 years, 10 years from now, that business is eligible for sale because it becomes an asset. It's a very profitable asset class. Okay, so the E-Myth and Built to Sell. Read these two books at the same time on the same week. Very, very short reads too. These are not long books, and you can get it done like literally like in a day or two. Highly recommend these two books. The next one is also a really good book. Once you start making 20 or 30K a month, you need to read this book, Profit First. The reason why Profit First is a really good book, because once you start making money, it might be your first time making money and you don't know what the F to do. You don't know where to put it in taxes. You don't know where to put it and whatever. And this book also tells you that you need to pay yourself first, which I love. Which I think Grant Cardone said this too. Like, hey, the owner should get paid first, because without the owner getting paid, there is no business. So if you're the last one to pay yourself and you have no money, then the business is not going to continue. But one thing I do like about this book, that it gives you like strategies. It'd be like, hey, use this 10% in a new bank account and put that money there. Get another 10% and put it for taxes. Get a business account and put that money there. And it shows you literally tactics of how to split your profits. And actually, once you're already profitable, once you're making money, you need to start watching your money. You need to start tracking your numbers, because it's gonna get out of hand. And since this is your first time making money, I'm 100% sure you're gonna fuck it up, because you're probably gonna be spending too much of it, or you're not gonna be tracking enough of your dollar, and you're gonna be making all this fucking money and still feel broke, which it's happened to me. It's happened to a few clients, because when you go from making barely, the bills 3 to 4K a month to making 30, 40, it's so much money. Sometimes you start spending. I've had months that I spent like $6,000, $8,000 on dinner, and I didn't fucking notice. I'm like, oh fuck, we spent $7,000 on dinner this month. Shit, that's a lot of fucking money. We can't do that again. Even though I could spend it, doesn't mean I should. That's a lot of goddamn money. And sometimes when you're making a lot of money, you just don't see it. You just swipe, and then at the end of the month, you're like, oh crap, I spend this much on whatever. So you need to start having rules and systems in order to don't let that don't let that stage mess you over. Okay, another great book, Unreasonable Hospitality. This book is great because it shows you it's a guy that owns pretty much the best restaurants in the world, and he tells you what is these tactics to create an unforgettable experience. And this is such a good concept. God damn, it's such a good concept, because if we can all adopt this concept, the concept of treating everybody like absolute gold, anybody that comes in contact with your business, treat him like a king or a queen, because word of mouth will compound, and that person will tell somebody else, and that person will tell somebody else, and eventually they're going to come to your business, and it's going to circle, and word of mouth is going to compound for you. Unreasonable Hospitality, a very fun book too. I read this and it was very fun. This is a very interesting book The power, look, the remarkable power of giving people more than they expect. Fuck, that is so good. And I love this because I try to have this in my company. I try so hard to give people an unexpected result, even though we can't give everybody the same results. But because my program is different, like it's honestly depending on the entrepreneur a lot, because we're giving you systems and infrastructure. You get me? Like it works. You just got to make it work. But the process of giving to them, how we talk to them, how we communicate, how we treat them. Oh man, the values in this book are awesome. You should definitely adopt them and start putting them in your business immediately. Okay, one of the last books that also helped me out, especially this year, was Choose Your Enemies Wisely. This is a brand new book, and I love Patrick Bet-David. Actually, the two people that I look up the most is Alex Ramosi and Patrick Bet-David. This is my two North Stars that I'm like, these are the two tyrants. They're my Mount Rushmore of like entrepreneurs that are alive pretty much, and like that I look up the most, because not only are they amazing businessmen, they're worth hundreds of millions of dollars, but they share all their knowledge. Patrick Bet-David has been sharing his knowledge for like 7 or 8 years, probably more, on YouTube. He's been doing this for a long time and sharing like tactical stuff, like about sales, recruitment management. That's where I got also my addiction to buy a lot of books. He said, read every book you can in 2 years and let me know if you don't make money, and I'll pay you for like I don't want to butcher what he said, but pretty much read every single day for almost 2 years, and if you don't become a totally different person by the end of 2 years, I'll pay you whatever you wasted on time and books back to you, which is pretty funny. But yeah, so Choose Your Enemies Wisely. This book is mainly about building a business plan that is actually coherent and effective in your business. Most of us make a business plan and we don't know what the fuck we're doing. We're just throwing things on a dock or whatever it may be, and we don't really driving something that we could connect emotionally and be like, okay, this is my business plan. I'm gonna focus on this for the next quarter, the next 120 days, next whatever it may be. Okay, great book. I highly recommend Choose Your Enemies Wisely by Patrick Bet-David. All right, everyone, I'm gonna end the video because I don't want to make it too long. I just wanted to give you pretty much the top books that right now that I can remember. I just went off my bookshelf because I get asked this question very often. Javi, what are the books right now that you recommend? And I recommend all of these. You can read all of these like in a month or two. Don't take fucking 2 months to read one book, guys. Come on, we have Audible, and then we have Audible, which you could put in the Audible, buy the book, and just read with the person and put it in 5 speed. You can easily finish a book a day by doing this way. And also write down everything that you hear, and because it will affect you. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope you got some value on it, and please, if you read any of this book, reach out to me and be like, hey Javi, I read X book, that shit was fucking awesome, thank you so much for recommending it, and let me know what the biggest takeaway that you got from that book. I would love to talk about it and we could have a conversation on it. Okay, see you guys on the next one. Peace.